Hello, everybody out there, and welcome back to the reading room. I am here, you are here, and let's go. So, today I'm changing it up, and in truest scientific sense, we are evolving. It happens. Things evolve. Just accept it, move on. But today, I used to do a segment. If you're new, if you're unfamiliar, if you're watching this at some far-flung time into the future, I did do a segment called Aimbot, Am I Morally Bankrupt or Them, which essentially was just, to be honest with you, I steal all my concepts. So I stole that from somebody who was reading off Reddit, and I tried to apply secular humanism to it. Now, one of my members and a great supporter of the channel, Stop the Stupidity, decided that he was going to suggest to me, hey, what if you did the same but with the Bible and apply the same principles of what's right and what's wrong to God? And I went, that is an amazing idea, and I now have someone to blame when things go disastrously wrong. No, honestly, no. Look, it was a great idea. I chased it up. Look, if anything goes wrong, it's entirely my fault. The idea is priceless. But yeah, I really appreciate that, and I set it into motion, and New Year seemed like a great time to do it. The timing was fantastic. So here we are, and we are going to try to answer that old age question that has been bewildering mortals since the beginning of time. Is God just a complete arsehole? Now, look, if you're religious, if you've come here and you're like, oh, how dare he? Look, we're just having fun. I don't think a God exists. I think that it is a fictional character. You might believe in it. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But we're just having fun, like you might have fun with Muslims about Muhammad or something like that. So, you know, it isn't meant to be mean. It isn't meant to be horrible. It's really just meant to say, hey, let's look at the scriptures written as a Reddit post, as if they were an ordinary person, and see if they would get negative reviews on Reddit. And maybe they would. Maybe that doesn't apply to God. I don't know. I don't think God exists, so it's not really my problem. But just be aware, if you do have a sort of reaction to it that says, hey, I don't like this or whatever, just realize that if I am insulting a God, if I am judging a God, if I am putting them down, if I am in some way insulting you personally through this, well, just realize that if God presumably knows where I live, and if God has a problem with it, he feel free to raise it up. I'm sure he has my email address. So, you know, if God is offended, I'm sure God will come and tell me, presumably. If not, hey, I can only assume he's totally fine with it. I wouldn't imagine that a God would need anybody fighting on their behalf as a omnipotent being. Now, just for the background, and mostly for the people that did watch Aimbot and the evolution into is God the arsehole, is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be keeping these maybe a bit shorter in the hope that people will watch them as standalone videos. So if you are doing that, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It helps me out a great deal, and it makes sure these episodes get out a bit further, because I think this is a lot of fun. So they might be a bit shorter, but I really hope that we can still go through them and do the usual thing of people commenting. I will, of course, have polls. I can't not. You can vote, and these are great to catch live. So, you know, if you do need, if somebody needs something to do about this time, let them know. Let them know. We're over here just wantonly, recklessly judging God and waiting for any feedback he may have. Anyway, that being said, somebody has jumped in, and it is Stop the Stupidity, as always. I told you I was a huge supporter of the channel, huge supporter, and gifted 5 readerships. They went out to, and for those who are new to the channel, I always do this in kind of my stupid announcer voice. Look, the levels of cringe on this channel are just fantastic, okay? It's quality cringe. You can't find cringe like this any other place. It's cringy. You can taste that aftertaste of cringe. It's slightly acidic, a little bit tart, but, you know, very, very smooth. It's that cringe that you can only get from the highest of cringe lords. So those go out to Detroit, Atheist Queen Kelly, Da Freak, Canned Case, GG, Angela Wings. Winners. Hang on, that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not miscounting, am I? What the hell? That was 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th one? Oh, stop the stupidity. They have ripped you off. They have 100% ripped you off, mate. That is not cool. I am absolutely no. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. Where's the 5th one? Am I seeing something different, or is there a 5th one? Can someone check? Can someone do my job for me? Oh, Jedi. No, I can't. Hang on. We're missing a membership somewhere, and I'm not going crazy. Somebody tell me. And because left-handed Jedi wants to destroy my throat, not like that, you sickos, not like that. All right, just he wants me to do announcer till the end of time. Oh Lord, all right. You know what? Maybe we shouldn't be asking if God's the arsehole. Maybe we should be asking if I'm the arsehole. I totally get it. Totally get it. For 2 years. 2 years. Left-handed Jedi, thank you. 2 years dedicated service. Thank you for your service, sir. That's amazing. Look, I honestly, when I started this channel, I didn't think I'd be here like 1 month. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think anything at all. I thought it was just ridiculous that I'd be here for this amount of time. And so that is amazing, mate. I am a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest with you. That's incredible, man. Like, seriously. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. YouTube did it. YouTube did it. YouTube scamming people now. All right. Okay. Well, all right. Well, what I'll do is I have, oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. There we go. There we go. Because you love the cringe so much, I have to add to it. Like, okay, I better start now before it goes completely off base. Okay, so left-handed Jedi also not only 2 years support, but also came through with 10 readerships. Thank you so much. That goes out to Casatio, GG, Ian, Kiambi, Mark, Stony, who's also being sued by Hovend, I think, which is wild, you know, like, yeah, Mark, if you're out there, man, like, what the hell? Look, I hope you're okay. Next goes out to ABC, Dieg, Ryan, Donovan, Thomas the Taylor. I can't help but notice Taylor's spelt wrong as well. Is he a Taylor or is he? I don't know. I don't know. Prixie, Purple, Zork Rose, Mr. L.E.J. It's Eric Wonder. Well, that's not my announcer voice. Look, you got a free announcer. It's Eric Wonder. Member for 22 months. Level. Is YouTube scamming people? Apparently so. Apparently so. Apparently. I don't know. You didn't do it, so it didn't do it to Jedi, so YouTube just hates my money. Okay, well, that's the first I've heard about YouTube hating any money whatsoever, to be honest. YouTube usually loves the money, but anyway, I'm not going to badmouth my platform. Never. And then this guy gifted 5 readerships. Thank you, Mark. You are a fabulously bald person. That goes out to Kings Mason, the Powdered Dusty. Actually, the Powdered Dusty, I've seen him over on Raging Tomato. He seems like a cool guy, actually. He really does. So, yeah, cool guy. Curious Kingdom, 420, Outer Cat, and last but not least, Pin Word. Wow, okay, my voice. Look, I'll do more. I'll do more. You can't stop me. I will pay for it, but I'll do more. Okay, so that's wrapped up. Okay, so what are we doing? So we're basically doing the Bible in the style of Reddit. This is going to be awesome. It may be a bit shorter, but I want to go through maybe a couple of them. I don't know. Let's see how we feel. Let's play it by ear. I can hide that somehow. Why are you? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. This is an awesome premiere already. We will be reading through the post. We will be making a determination. I like to know why people think something's right or wrong. Hey, if you're a Christian or whatever and you think it's right, hey, say so. Discussion is always welcome. Preaching is not. The difference between preaching and discussion is questions and answers, engaging with people, while preaching is just repeating things to them without expecting any kind of response. So that's how I make the distinguish between them. But you're very welcome if you're a theist and you want to argue the case for God's morality. More than welcome to. More than welcome to. But thank you so much, guys. And we will get into the first one. No more delays, no more stuffing around. Here it comes. Okay, so first off the block, and hey, if you've got a Bible, you might want to follow them along and see whether I have made anything up or I'm actually sort of trying to interpret the Reddit into the Reddit post as accurately as possible. Like, please, if you want to fact check my work, please do so. So this Redditor, am I the asshole for making everything? It's a good question. I can't really say up front. You're going live with AJ Ways to Human at 9:30 p.m. in 1.5 hours. I don't know. I was thinking maybe I'll keep it shorter so people are more encouraged to watch it on replay, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Misinterpretations. I'm not sure about that. So, but if you are watching this later, thank you. And you're very welcome to join in the live action. So to give you some background, I am a deity, male, infinity, who lives in nothing. Just chaos. Oh, I did the tense wrong. That should have been who lived in nothing. Just chaos, darkness with nothing else existing. I decided to create existence because, quite frankly, it was getting really boring. I don't know how like, the question is, why create anything if you're a perfect being, right? Like, if you are a perfect being, why bother creating anything at all? I mean, yeah, you could just done it on a whim, but I wouldn't imagine an omniscient God would do things on whims. I'm not sure what God was getting out of it, but I'm sure the chaos was pretty boring. There's a lot of background to the first week in my project, so bear with me while I go through it. I said, let there be light. There was light. It worked immediately. Yeah, that's always a good feeling, right? Like you program something, or you do a circuit, or you make something and it works first time. I guess God got a lot of that feeling, right? Like, because is there ever a time he did something and it didn't work? Can anyone remember a time in the Bible maybe when God did something and it didn't work? I suppose, wouldn't it take a little bit of the sort of fun out of life inventing, and it always works? You have nothing to go, like, first time every time it works. Mind you, did this work? Did this whole creation thing work? I don't know. We'll find out, because I'm sure there'll be more Reddit posts. I separated light from darkness and labeled them day and night. Efficient, clean, and before you ask, I don't have to explain how that works without a sun and rotation of the planet. Yeah, so that's a big deal in sort of the, I call it mythology, you might say history, that day and night are separated sort of without sort of any kind of rotation of the earth, which is we know that's what causes day and night. So I just wonder how that worked in an early universe. Like, the universe was there was stars, supernova going on. Was one half of it light and one half dark? Or was, like, on the earth, how was it rotating, and like it was like already light and dark, kind of thing? How does that work? I'd like to know how it works without a sun. Oh no, I'm not assuming the mind of any kind of infinite being. No, no, no. It's not an argument as well. It's just a actual question. Like the question is why. That's the it's a question. I mean, you can give me an answer if you want. That's not a problem. It's not an argument. It's just I do wonder if a god did create the like, why did he do it? Why would a perfect god need imperfect humans? It's kind of weird to me. But you know, hey, if you know the answer, great. But yeah, the other question I have on this one is, how in the early universe where there's supernova and stuff like that, no sun and moon, like no sun, no, like, is it rotating? I don't know. I don't know. It's very, very strange. On day 2 of my project, I made a sky to separate waters above from waters below. Yes, there was a lot of water. Yeah, I don't know where the waters above went. I'm not sure. Maybe they're in comets now. Maybe they froze into comets that are mostly ice. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Joe, no problem, mate. No problem. Oh, hey, Kip. Good to see you. Good to see you. No, I will not explain the physics. I haven't created them yet, so basically I can do whatever I want. So that's one option, right? Like if you haven't created the physics, you can do whatever you want if you are omnipotent. Physics can go get jumped. But then that brings in a problem, which is why take 7 days, or 6 days rather, to create everything? Like if you can do whatever you want, why can't you just create it all at once? Like, I don't know. But you know, it may have been a method to the madness. Who knows? I don't know. On day 3, I gathered up the water in one place so dry land could show up. Nice. Nice. So he scooped up the water, dry land. Land appeared, seas formed, named both. Okay, well, it's strange that it's not the same name in different languages, but sure. Presumably there's some sort of platonic name that applies to all of them, I would imagine. Okay, maybe. I don't know. It's a bit weird. Okay, it's a bit weird. Then I added plants, grass, trees, stuff that makes seed so it can reproduce without me constantly stepping in. Yeah, no, you don't. You want a hands-off approach to this kind of thing, right? Like you just want to build the engine and let it run. You don't want to actually, you know, sit there have to crank it all the time. Yeah, nah, that's not cool. So yeah, he made a reproductive system. That's fantastic. This feature of a future project, and you'll see why I did this later. On day 4, created the sun, moon, and stars to handle timekeeping. Days, seasons, years. I know some people will say I needed these before the light, but I am omniscient, so I know what I'm doing. Okay, well, you know, I think an omniscient person should know what they're doing, although I don't know why an omnipotent person would need to take 6 days to do something. It's very strange. It's very, very, very strange. Interesting. On day 5, I filled the seas with fish and the sky with birds. Okay, I told them to be fruitful and multiply, which was more to keep the whole reproduction thing going, and it was not creepy at all. Okay, no, I can understand that. I can understand that. So presumably the fish and the birds would have had to have death already, because if they didn't have death, pretty soon you'd have the whole thing filled up. I'm pretty sure. Because if they're reproducing and not dying, that's a ecological catastrophe in my book. This book it's not, but my book it's an ecological catastrophe if you get that many of the same animal in one area. It's a disaster. So yeah. On day 6, I made land animals, livestock, wild animals, creeping things. Okay, you could have not created... As someone from Australia, you could have passed on the creeping things, to be honest with you. Like, nobody would be angry if you didn't create the plate-sized spiders in my country, okay? That would have been nice, but okay, fine. You're doing your thing. Then I made humans in my image and gave them authority over everything else. Okay, well, I also told them to multiply and manage the planet. Yeah, that's had some mixed results. That's had some mixed results, in fairness. in my defense, I don't think that they would. I didn't think that they would completely trash the place. Also, for the record, I assign plants and fruits as food for everyone. No death yet. Okay, so very peaceful, very intentional. Okay, yeah, that's a disaster. If there's no death and things are multiplying, that is an ecological disaster. That's a disaster. I don't know what we're going to do with that. That sounds like somebody introducing like a forever chemical into a system, or a long-lived invasive species. Like that's not going to end well. That won't end well. That's going to be just filled to the brim with invasive species. I suppose if there's no species yet, everything's invasive or nothing's invasive. I don't know. That's a weird one, right? I rested day 7, not because I was tired, but because I wanted to set an example of how to maintain a work-life balance for my social media followers. Obviously, yeah, you got to. Now some other gods are saying, I was arrogant for repeatedly calling my work good. I favoured humans too much. Yeah, they might have you on that one. I rushed the whole project. I should have explained the rules better up front, but I checked everything at the end, and it was very good. So am I the arsehole? Well, I have my opinions. I'm not sure if you've got your opinions. First thing I will do is get the poll running. Start a poll. Oh, what was the title? Was God the arsehole for creating? Oh, I'm not actually typing. Okay. Right. For creating everything. Okay, now like Reddit, we have a number of options available to you. Do read them if you want before clicking. Look, what do I care? I don't care if you just click buttons. I really don't. But you might want to read them. This will certainly influence the very serious and very, very consequential poll that will come to your screen very soon. It's a high influence and definitely serious, super serious poll that is coming out to you. So yeah, run poll. Yeah, okay. I am a poll cat. I got to admit. I do have to admit. Okay, and I'm going to go through and have a look. It's good to see you, Kip. Do tell me if I have misinterpreted or gotten anything wrong. I tried to just keep to the plain reading of what it said as much as possible. I thought I was a paying member. I thought you were too, Kings Mason. I thought I saw you on the last outro. Look, we'll check the outro and see how it goes. I thought you were. You're not on an alt account or something, are you? Leave a like, you wankers. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you've spelt it the Australian sort of colloquial, Ocker way. I love it. Bible in the style of Reddit. What could go wrong? Look, it can't be any worse than Reddit. Look, Reddit's a funky place. Can't be any worse. I was walking this afternoon, wondered why the supposed Almighty was playing hide and seek. Good question. Even perfect being gets bored? Eric, do they though? I don't know. I haven't investigated many perfect beings. I will grant you that. They could well do. I have not actually maybe they're perfectly bored. Maybe that's something. Maybe they are perfectly bored. You've got a point. All right, I'm right on board now. Never an actual affirmation, only the impossibility of eliminating the unfalsifiable claim. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see some actual affirmations, but they're they're mostly stuff that I have no access to, like, the burning of the bosom, and, an angel helped me with my car tire and things like that. I don't have the ability to investigate these things. So, yeah, never an actual affirmation I can investigate. I get what you mean, though. Yeah, I do know what you mean, yeah. Bugger those burnt out light bulbs. Yeah, I mean, keeping light and dark, separated from one another for that amount of time without a sun, it's hell on your power bill. I'll tell you that right now. Hell on your power bill. Um, where did the wand waver originate from, as well as the lumber for the crosses? The trees, I'd presume. I presume. A dog's got to eat. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. Left-hander Joe says, my hypothesis about creating humans is for God to replenish his or her mana supply. Oh, wasn't there a game like that? It was like Populous or something, and you created humans because that was your power bank, basically. Look, that would be terrifying, that we're basically like in the Matrix, and all we are is a power source for a vastly more powerful being. That's actually pretty horrifying. But Stop Stupidity says, a petty jealous God would need us to blame for screwing up his creation. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know if humankind at this point had the responsibility to take care of all of, a perfect creation. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't take on that responsibility. That's just me personally. Maybe they were very confident. Maybe God was very confident in us. Grasses didn't evolve until after the dinosaurs. That is true. Yes. If you believe the scientists, the lying scientists who have just done all the research on it. Yes. That is a good question, Drops Philia. How come God needs so many foreskins? I don't know. Maybe that's the mana. Maybe he needs, it's not the human, it's the foreskin that powers, that's the mana that gives him his powers. Maybe it is the foreskins. Maybe that's why God hasn't done anything lately, or very, very little. So few humans are giving him foreskins. He doesn't have the power. We've solved it. We've solved the riddle. God's a weirdo? Are you kink shaming God? No, not at all. No, I would never. I would never kink shame God. I believe in God, but God doesn't believe in me. I don't believe in God. I am simply judging a fictional character, just as I would judge, like, a fictional character like the Hound, right? Like in Game of Thrones, he was an arsehole, right? He was complete and utter tool. He had a redemption arc, granted, but he was still a tool. And, I can still judge him, and he doesn't exist. So, no, God doesn't believe in me. Well, I wouldn't imagine that an imaginary character believes in anything, and that's my position on what God is. So, look, if you think he's real, get him to have a word with me, because I have questions. So God is humanoid. Apparently so, yeah. That is true. We're in his image, so yeah, apparently. We could do without, absolutely. We could do without, and the malaria accompanying that would be awesome. Although I heard that they actually came out with a, like they found a cure to malaria, or something that can treat malaria in children, which is awesome. Awesome. We found the asshole parameter? Yeah, probably. Why does God need so baby peen skin? It's for power. It's mana. You must have been there. You just get power from lobbing off bits of people. It's how it works. It's the God build. While you're clicking, have you noticed the thumb shape button? Yeah, give a like. Why not? Why not? An angel ate my homework. How dare you? How dare you blame a dog or an angel? That's on you. I don't believe you, young man. I don't believe you, young man. We do not eat homework. Thank you very much. Look, I'm standing up for you, Gabe. I'm on your side, mate. An angel wouldn't do that. Like, an angel has tons of eyes and probably mouths, but homework, it's a little far. Little far. High priests of scientism, which is not a thing. To be fair to the conversation, the sunset was awe-inspiring. The horizon a sherbet stripe lake with candy cotton whisk. Yeah, no, sunset is amazing, but I don't see a god contributing it to it. Yeah. Didn't they recently find a cure for sickle cell? Oh, I didn't hear about that one, did they? Oh, someone tell me if they did. Absolutely. Well, that is the first one wrapped up. And as I said, I'm going to keep these things a bit shorter. So if you do want to, we can do another one. And God is the arsehole. Yes. I think that, and I would say that, yeah, well, I'm not sure. Not really the arsehole. I think that, I think that it's, I think that he needed a better instructions, and he needed a better instruction manual, and he needed to do things in a way that we could clearly see that he did all of this stuff instead of, hiding it behind some magical thing that just made it look like the solar systems and planetary formation happened with accretion disks. So I think, yeah, he is an arsehole. And I think he's an arsehole because he's basically hiding his work, basically pretending that it's accretion disks and natural phenomenon when he did it. Like, he could have been more obvious about it. It wasn't obvious, and I think that makes him a complete prick, because we have totally been fooled if that's the case. If that's the case, we've been totally fooled. Now, let me know in chat if you do want to do another one. Give me a Bigfoot Jesus in chat. And maybe a sus if you don't. If you think that half an hour is enough. Look, as I said, I wanted to keep it short, maybe in half an hour to an hour. But I'm happy to do it. Look, I've got a ton of these. I won't lie. I went crazy. I went crazy doing these. I was actually having a lot of fun rewriting the Bible. Ooh, the blasphemy. And yeah, I thought it was great. So give me a Bigfoot Jesus if you do want another one. And yeah, if you want me to keep it short and sweet, give me a sus. Or, just yes or no. That's fine too. That is fine too. That is totally fine too. I'm up for anything. Yes, another? Says misinterpretations. You want another? Okay. Well, she's the only one speaking. I feel like I'm talking to myself. You know what? I'm actually enjoying myself, so I'm going to put a Bigfoot Jesus in the chat. Yes, I need more. Yeah, no, I'm thinking that way as well. Look, these ones I have to play by ear. This is a new segment, new show, new everything. It's a new me. It's a new year. Everything's new. Everything's new. Everything's fantastic. We'll play it by ear. We'll do whatever. Second one coming up. I'll just have to find it. 1 second. Yes. All right. Yeah. So this is another post from I Am Yahweh. Am I the arsehole for deciding it wasn't good for a man to be alone and then making a woman from his rib? Okay, first off, just at the start of the line, what the hell? Why do you have to make a woman from his rib? Like that, seriously, there's some consent issues. There is some problematic issues there. Why the woman from his rib? Why not just like create another one like you did before? I don't understand this. Why do you need a rib this time? This is the weird thing. It's kind of like, oh well, there's a man. I'll make a man out of dust or whatever, and then oh, I need a woman. Instead of using my amazing powers to do so, I'll grab his rib and make it out of that. I don't know. It does seem very mythological though. So look, I don't think you should be taking anybody's body parts without consent. So that's So this is a kind of continuation of my last post. I was going to write yesterday's post, but I didn't know if I was doing this one today. I got to be honest with you people. After finishing creation, I rested on the 7th day. Apparently so. Don't know why. Apparently it was to maintain that work-life balance. It's to show that you gotta take some me time, even if you are a perfect omnipotent deity. I don't know why you would need me time as a perfect omnipotent deity. No idea. No idea. I didn't do any work. I blessed the day and I set it apart. I don't know how you did that. How was it set apart? I don't understand how it, I mean, it's just another day. Like in countries that don't have the weekend, it's just another day. I don't know how it's set apart. It's very weird. I did not have to rest, but I feel like I do not have to explain why I rested. Well, that's a little defensive. You're basically taking a day off for no reason. Okay, well, I mean, you do you, boo. You do you. Let me go back a bit to explain how things were at the time. There weren't any shrubs or cultivated plants yet because it hadn't rained and there was no human to work the ground. Well, yeah, I mean, no rain's a bit of a problem, but he clearly said in the last post there was a lot of water. So why it didn't have water is beyond me. And no human to work the ground. Why do they need shrubs and plants, cultivated plants? Maybe, yeah, but other plants. Okay, that's just odd. The earth was being watered by mist coming up from the land, which worked but did look a bit weird. Yeah. So it didn't rain. Instead, mist gathered on the ground and watered everything. Okay, are you sure it wasn't a sprinkler system? You know, a sprinkler system set on misting. I think God actually installed some irrigation and some sprinklers, you know, with misting on. Is God running a greenhouse? From the heat here, it certainly seems like it. Holy crap. From that ground, I formed a man out of dust and breathed life into him. Okay, well, that's a good trick. That's a good trick. I mean, out of dust, is there anything better you could find? I don't... Okay, make it out of dust. All right, that's a choice, I guess. One moment he was dirt, the next he was alive and conscious. Don't ask how I did it, as it is too complicated to explain in this post. Well, I'd just like someone to explain at some point. And again, if God's angry that I'm taking his words out of context, come and see me. Maybe you can explain how you breathe life into somebody. You know, barring CPR, of course. I am aware of CPR before you actually say that. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to know how. Like, that would be great. I planted a garden in Eden and placed the man there. Yeah, why not? I don't know where Eden is. It'd be nice if we can find it again. I don't think we can get in, but, you know, it'd be nice to know. But he put the man there. It was full of trees that were beautiful to look at. Well, you know, as long as there were no ugly trees. No one wants ugly trees. No one wants... Have you looked at the trees? No one wants ugly trees. They have to be beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Look at the trees. Look at the trees. And good for food. Well, that's good. What were they? Apple trees? Olive trees? I don't know. But apparently that was... No lemon trees, please. Like, you know, just lemon off the branch is not good. It's fantastic in stuff, not good. I also placed two particular trees in the middle of the garden. The tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, I don't know why he placed them in the garden. Presumably there was somewhere else that God could have placed them. Right? I presume there is some other, you know, have you got a safe room? Have you got some other place to put these damn trees? I don't know why. Like, were the dead center? Was there like a secret part? Could you at least hide them a little? I have so many questions about this. Like, you just plonk them. You put your newborn child with no knowledge of anything in a garden and put two magic trees in with them. Okay, sounds legit. That's exactly what I would do. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have no idea. I told the man he could eat from any tree in the garden except one. Okay, so he could eat from the tree of life. So he could eat from the tree of life. Okay, so that would presumably mean no death, right, if he's eating from the tree of life. So tree of life, all good. Tree of knowledge of good and evil, no go. Not good. Were the trees beautiful? You'd presume so. You didn't want any ugly trees. So, yeah. It sounds very beautiful. So, yeah. Might be a bit of a risk there, matey. I also told him that if he ate from the tree, he would die. Okay, all right, so 2 trees. Tree of life, obviously, the name says it all. Life. Tree of knowledge of good and evil, death. Okay, so we've got like a binary opposition thing going here. Eat from the right tree. I hope they don't mix up the trees. Hopefully the trees don't look similar, because that would cause problems. I feel like so much could go wrong in this setup, right? You're basically putting a child in a room and say, on one hand, there's your, your water bottle, drink from that, and you will, be refreshed and hydrated. And the other one is full of poison. Don't drink from that one or else you'll die. I feel like something could go horribly wrong here. I really do. This doesn't seem like a good situation for an omniscient being. I really think this is not the best layout for your masterwork here. I told him to name all of the animals. I presume that's the guy and not the tree, now that I come to read it. I told him to name all the animals that had been created, and he came up with some hilarious names, like Aardvark. That is pretty hilarious, I have to admit. Aardvark, Pangolian, just some animal names are wild, That's wild. He named every one of them. Sorry, I mistyped that. Which was honestly really impressive and took a ridiculous amount of time. That's okay. There's no death yet. He's got all the time in the world to name all of the animals, every single one, every single species of animal he named. Whew. I mean, what a chore. I don't know. Like, where were we getting the names from? Was he just, like, making sounds and they became the names? Was he just like, baboon, and that became the baboon? I don't know. A lot isn't sort of explained in this. A lot isn't explained. A good thing he didn't need to name all the trees as well. That would have taken even longer. Or did he just name the animals like Jeff? I gather not. I gather not, because he mentioned an aardvark there. At some point during this process, I realized that a man needed a helper and no suitable helper could be found. Uh-oh. So I decided to make a suitable partner for him. Okay, well, I mean, I gotta say, men they get pretty horny. Just say. I don't know how many thousands of years this is, but you probably get a bit lonesome, I don't know how long he can cope. So I caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. That sounds like roofing him to me. Like, he caused him to fall into a deep sleep. Did he spike his fruit? Did he spike his fruit? Did he roofie him? Did he do a Cosby on him? Is this what's going on? Did God Cosby Adam? I have questions. That seems ridiculous. When the man woke and saw her, took one of his ribs. Yeah, that's non-consensual. Look, this is the kind of thing that happens nowadays, but they take one of your kidneys. You got to be careful for that stuff. Keep hold of your drink. If you see somebody pick up your drink or touch your drink, just, it's not worth it. Just get rid of it. Like, don't let anybody put something into you, because it does happen to people. Okay, like, be safe out there. Don't be paranoid. Just be cautious. That's all. Especially when you're in a dangerous situation. And I wouldn't imagine, like, what a betrayal of trust, right? It's his father. He trusts him. He roofies his fruit and then takes one of his ribs and makes a woman from it. I mean, did he have the consent beforehand? The text is silent on this point. But, I wouldn't imagine so if he needs to put him into a deep sleep. That really does speak of, rarely do people need, I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe it was an operation. I don't know. But playing the game Operation with your child, please don't do it. Please, don't do it. When the man woke up and saw her, he broke into poetry on the spot. which I took as a good sign. Yeah, that is a good sign if he wakes up and spontaneously riffs something about being flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone. Yeah, that's usually a good sign when someone feels the impulse to break out into spontaneous lyrics upon seeing the person that they're supposed to be going on a date with. Yeah, no, that's a good sign. You know, if I ever sit down at a date and, you know, the person I'm dating feels compelled to wax lyrically about me, I'm not sure I would be flattered, actually. That might be a bit creepy. That might actually be a bit creepy. I think I'd actually be a bit creeped out. That might actually be a bit weird. Yeah, no, on second thought, no. I think maybe there's a problem there. They were naked, unashamed, and completely at ease with one another. I figured that they would not have any problems. Yeah. No, men and women famously have never had any problems throughout the history of time. Never happened. No, that we've always been equal, and I am being so sarcastic. It's incredible. Thank you. It's a cringe and sarcasm is all you'll get from this channel, all right? Just accept it. Now, people looking back are saying I could have handled this better. Yeah, probably, like gotten consent off the guy, or just popped the woman into existence like from dust, like you did the guy, or you know, just about anything else. This seems very, very reckless. I don't. Some think I was inefficient. Damn right you were. Yeah, it doesn't seem efficient. Others think I should have gotten consent from the man before taking his rib and making woman. Yeah, absolutely. Some argue that calling her a helper sounds unequal, even though that wasn't what I meant at all. Wasn't it? I think there's a few passages in the Bible that would sort of put a doubt on that claim that wasn't what they meant. They really did mean helper. Like, that's actually not true. I think that God is lying again. So, you know, I think that God 100% thought that it would be a helper in every sense of the word, including hierarchy. I really think so. But that's my opinion. You may have a different opinion. That's okay. Others say I should have created both of them at the same time to avoid confusion later. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, why couldn't you? The question then becomes, why didn't the omniscient God, who knows everything that's going to happen, know that Adam would get lonely and needed a mate? Like, why was he surprised by this development? That's my question on this one. Like, for a guy that knows everything that's going to happen, he's surprised by an awful lot. And it's a pretty weird situation when a God that knows everything throughout time is surprised because, or at least, you know, at least didn't know in advance that Adam would need a mate, and therefore sort of, you know, created her at the same time, which he obviously could do and chose not to, because he wanted to, instead of creating them at the same time, he wanted to do a unconsensual medical operation on the guy in order to create the woman so she would be subservient in some way, is all I can assume. I'm really picking up some arsehole vibes. Added an edit. Stop asking if I mated the man with the animals to see if they were compatible. That's just weird and creepy. Yeah, totally. But, you know, look, to be honest with you, I condemn it, but, you know, I've heard of men long time in the desert, no women. They can get up to some shenanigans, as far as I've heard. It's not healthy for them. But it's weird that God didn't know that when he started this whole expedition in person creating. It's very strange. It's very strange. Okay, I don't know what to say to that. What was the title of this? I keep forgetting the title that I put on these things. Was God the arsehole for creating a woman from man's rib? after drugging him. Yeah. Oh, it needs a question. That is a question mark. That is a question mark. I say that a lot. It's sort of a play on words because I am Mark and I forget to put question marks on everything. That is a question mark. I'll just get these things in. So I'm doing the poll on the fly because, well, YouTube won't let me repeat the same poll. It would be nice, like, just to do the last one. That would be a good feature. I'll send in a suggestion because I'm sure they will listen to me. I'm sure they will listen. Wow, it's heavy in sarcasm today. I think it's the posts have just absolutely crushed me. Absolutely crushed me. I am now Captain Stupidity, Captain Sarcasm. Okay, it is stupid as well. It is stupid as well. Yep. Okay, I think I'm up to where. Reminder, Ember says, reminder, a biblical woman is literally a rib. Yes, yes, apparently so. Didn't they used to think that, like, we had less ribs than women? I thought, is that like one of those sort of myths that people thought we had less ribs because of the Bible? I can't remember. I think it might have been a myth, but, you know, I think that some people did believe it. So, yeah. Yes, that's because it's a myth. Yeah, it does read very mythological, Kip. I'm with you. You know, I'm just trying to, in some way, read the Bible like it would be a person making a Reddit post. I know you fucking love this book. I know you fucking do. But hey, it's certainly a interesting book. It's interesting. Salhazari says, yeah, it's basically organ harvesting without consent. I'm inclined to agree. And, you know, if I was Adam, I'd be checking my kidneys as well. I really would. Stop the stupidity says, don't make people that are supposed to populate the world twins. Yeah, well, I think there is, like, you're totally right. There is the problem of the whole inbreeding thing, even if they're not twins, which if you got somebody's rib and made another person out of that genetic code, that would be a twin or a clone, basically. Same as a clone. There would be massive problems with inbreeding. Even without it, you know, two people would do massive problems of inbreeding. The creationists sort of say, hey, they were the perfect DNA. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Like, I don't know what perfect DNA means because that's not a thing. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? Apparently, you know, it wasn't inbreeding because of insert special pleading reason here, basically. Eve was a gender swapped clone. Yeah. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he took Adam's DNA, changed it, but, you know, the question has to be, well, where did the other X chromosome come from? You can't just duplicate the chromosome. That's wild. That's wild. Maybe it can. Maybe he rolled the dice on the other chromosome. Who knows? I don't know. But, you know, the Y chromosome can't just turn into, it's too small. It's tiny compared to the X. So I don't know. It's weird. It's funky. We don't know. It's wild. Well, look, God's doing some weird science in the back here. Better Than Ember said he's taken the last several thousand years off. What's one day? Well, presumably, it's because if you saw, he was male and infinity from his last post. So presumably he took the first infinity amount of time off. So, you know, I don't know, what was he doing then? That's my question. What was the infinity age deity doing before he started making Reddit posts? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird, isn't it? And you know, William Lane Craig sort of says, oh, there's, you know, a problem with infinite time, because if there's infinite time, you never actually reach the time of anything starting. And I get his argument, but the same probably would apply for God. If he existed infinite time into the past, then he would never actually get to creating anything. He would never actually get to deciding creating anything because it has to go infinitely into the past. Now they get around this by saying, well, God's outside of time and he just transcends time. But I think that's sort of more a cop-out, to be honest with you. I think that's more a special pleading case. If he existed in the world for infinite time, then the time would never reach the time where he created anything. I don't know, unless he created time, maybe, but that's the one thing that it says God didn't create, which is weird, right? Although it does say he created the days and stuff like that. Maybe that's what they're talking about. In this context, working the ground is an expression of cultivation, a recognition that agriculture is a human innovation. Okay. Well, I mean, I know working the ground is sort of, agriculture and horticulture and stuff. Like, I totally get it. But it's a human innovation. Oh, the fact that the cultivated plants couldn't grow because there were no humans. So it's acknowledging that humans are the ones that cultivated plants and God didn't do that. It was us that cultivated plants. Well, that's interesting. Sort of a societal memory kind of thing. That's pretty cool. Left-handed Jedi says, so God breathes, but that means he had a cardiovascular system. Well, it's a special cardiovascular system. It's a special kind of one. It's a divine cardiovascular. You've got to understand these things. A divine cardiovascular system. It means that he breathes out, never breathes in. I don't know how that works. Don't at me. All right, don't at me. Joe Facetious. I like your name, Facetious. I've always loved that word, and I've always loved being facetious. I got to admit, Genesis exists to disempower women, rewriting the primordial act of creation as a male act after the Hebrews fell out with Yahweh's wife Asherah. Right, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it could very well be. I honestly do not know. But yeah, I was aware that Yahweh was the son of El, and was Asherah the consort of Yahweh or the consort of El? I thought it was like El was the consort of Asherah, and then sort of Yahweh kind of stole her when El and Yahweh were wrapped up together, kind of thing. But I easily could be wrong. I must admit I'm not well versed on that. Oh, yeah, Joe, yeah, on that day you will surely die. Yes, that is what it says. Well, I was just sort of paraphrasing to it. I got to admit, at some points I did make it the most Steelman version that I can, right? Like, because the thing about these is it's going to be God writing from his point of view, right? So, or, anytime anybody puts in these posts, they always try to put a good spin on the terrible stuff that they've done. Always, without fail. They always will like, oh, I kicked my sister in the stomach because she did this. And, it wasn't hard, but, she claimed it was, they always try and favor themselves. So I kind of tried to do that when I did it. Stop the Stupidity says, how dare you read from the tree and find out I'm evil? Yes. Yeah, that's probably why he didn't want them eating from the tree, right? So we wouldn't know that he's evil, because, he's being a prick. You do not want people. It's like, an ignorant child that doesn't know that their, parents are monsters. And then they get rescued by child protection and they say, oh, they were keeping you in a cage. And the child thinks that's normal. That's what it's like, right? Like they're sitting there going, well, I didn't know that was bad. It's very sus. Bill Nye was one of my favorite actors. He was so good in HGTTG. What is that? I don't know what that is. HGTTG. I think I've done something horribly wrong. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. Nice. I like the book. I wasn't a huge fan of the show. I liked the book. I loved the book. Joe says, punishing someone for disobedience when they don't understand good and evil seems harsh. Yeah, just a little. I mean, how did they know? Yeah, and your question is exactly the same as Abdas. How did they know disobedience is bad? Um, I think that sort of, and even if you say, hey, bad isn't the same as evil, it's absolutely stressed that what they did was evil, right? What they did was a sin. It is evil to disobey God. So without an understanding of that, it is weird to hold them accountable for their actions when they did. Like, we don't hold people accountable for their actions when they don't have any understanding of the consequences of their actions. Like if someone's a young child or somebody is mentally unfit, we say, hey, that's an exception. So God doesn't seem to understand that. It's very strange. Salhazari, he must have been drunk when he named the Australian animals. No joke, like kangaroo, platypus, wombat. Look, it is based upon native Australian names, which is fair. All of those bacteria, so tedious. Yeah, no, we don't want to start from single cells. That's just work. That's just work. That's just work. You don't want to do that. You want to just create complex organisms just straight from dust. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Joe says he was drunk when he did all of Oz. Yeah. Absolutely. Amber says, what does he have urges for, I wonder? I presume you mean God? I have no idea. Presumably he's got everything that he needs already, so he wouldn't urge for anything. Probing time, good to see you. Names in general can be very interesting. I see bridge names and wonder at the history behind many. Same with animal names, areas, and even racehorse names are weird and interesting histories. Look. I'll tell you how brutal Australians are. We named. There was a prime minister who loved to swim. Right, he was a real swimmer. Loved going out off the coast and swimming. He actually vanished while swimming, and nobody found him. Just completely vanished whatsoever. Presumably maybe he was in what's called a rip, a current that can drag you out to sea. Maybe, he died and got drowned or whatever. Australia, to honour Harold Holt, named something after him. And in true Australian fashion, yes, we named an aquatic centre after him. Yes, Australians named the Harold Holt Aquatic Centre after a guy that disappeared and presumably drowned while swimming. Thanks, Australia. Never change. Never change. And Joe says, and God Cosby'd Adam and took inappropriate photos, which he sold on his OnlyFans. Well, I'm not sure if he had much of an audience. Presumably there was animals and one human around at the time, so maybe he did. Maybe they were whales, big spenders. Did God need a rib and pretended to make a helper, and Eve was in fact only in Adam's imagination? Well, if the story is true, he somehow procreated. So maybe if you can procreate with imaginary things, look, there's so much wrong with this story. I don't even know where to start. That is just ridiculous. Okay. I mean, in the Jewish version, there's Lilith as well, who was Adam's first wife. She's like the bitter ex kind of thing. Really weird that they're sort of casting this bitter ex as Lilith, the spirit of being forsaken or whatever, or having too much rebelliousness. Really weird stuff. So much for free will. Yep. And Ember says, only play doctor with consenting adults. Absolutely. God speaks in parables? Well, not always, no. I mean, sometimes he straightforward commands people. He doesn't always speak in parables. He really doesn't. Sometimes he will order something and then punish somebody for not carrying out what he directly ordered. So, that is not true, I'm afraid to say. I wish he always spoke in parables so people could go, oh, it could mean anything. But no, that's not the case. Sarcastic cringe. God speaks in bullshit. Well, so I don't think God speaks in anything. I think the people who did the Bible speaks in bullshit. Totally. Yes. Yes. Even Helper as being too nice. Yeah. Sethian Gnostics would agree too. Okay. I don't know what they are. What are Sethian Gnostics? I'm going to find out something new today. You're going to be proud of me. Diverse early. Oh, the venerating Seth. Yeah, Adam's third son, a divine figure, an ancestor of spiritual knowledge. Okay, well that's wild. Okay, cool. So big fans of the third born. All right, well done. He used Adam's DNA, basically. Yeah, yeah. I say, yeah, he was. Okay, Al. Yeah, absolutely. Or is. Yeah, yeah. Good to see you, Al. The better books have all been written multiple times. Few read them, fewer still comprehend. I don't know about that, Kings Mason. They still get good books. I'm not, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Original ideas. I tell you, all the movies have been made. They're now like adapting any books they can get their hot little hands on. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think the point, the jumping the shark point, got when we got Battleship. Like a game with movies. Like it wasn't a bad movie. It just like why make it from a board game with nothing to do? Okay, sure. I like you like my Bible version much, but thank you. I made it myself. And yeah, if you do like it, do give a like or leave a comment. Say keep it up. It really does help me keeping up the motivation, and it helps the algorithm for people to find us and join in on this absolutely reckless trudge into the Reddit of God. It's wild. One by land, two by sea. Good to see you. God must have created two women from Adam's ribs, else it would have been different number on left and right side. Well, the apologetic for that is if you take somebody's rib out and they have a child, it doesn't miss a rib kind of thing. I think that's fair. I kind of feel sorry for Adam having to wander around without a rib. Did he give Adam a prosthetic rib, maybe? Is that what he did? I don't know. I don't know if that would cause problems medically. Probably not. I have no idea. Thunder of the word. Well, the problem was that's how the Nephilim came from the sons of God, not fallen angels, because angels are spirit and cannot procreate. I'll have to take your word on that. Nephilim wasn't mentioned in here once. I believe that is the next chapter. But hey, good to know. Good to know. Alizard Crimson. Nice name. From the people of the land of not east of Eden who came and went to live with. Look, you guys are getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me. Who were those people? Well, obviously they were people. Look, the Bible has things that God did. Presumably there was a lot of minor gods running around. Who knows what they did? It's all confusion. You can't create anything without time. Yeah, presumably. I mean, look, local presentation of time. If something is outside of time, presumably there is a time or something similar that they can create it in and drop it in. But, what reason do we have to believe that? Absolutely none. We don't even know if there's anything outside the universe, much less whether there's any kind of time running outside the universe. We have no idea. No idea. Probing Time says, God can have one of my ribs if he'll turn it into a super hot redhead that cooks too. Only a particular rib that never set and it's just dead though. Okay, well, I mean, sure. You can ask God. I don't think he's providing. Let me know if it works. Seriously. He created Adam so to fulfill the coming of Jesus. Okay, but if he never created humans in the first place, Jesus wouldn't have had to come. Because Jesus came to absolve humanity of their sins. If he never created the humans to sin, then you're in a bit of a paradox here. And it's confusing me. I'm sorry. It is confusing me because if he didn't create humans, then he wouldn't need Jesus to come. So it's a bit strange. Oh, Ember's already on it. Yeah, Ember's way ahead of me. That's silly. If he hadn't made Adam, he wouldn't need Jesus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I might skip ahead because I really don't want to go over an hour and a half, and I'm very sorry, everybody. Your interaction is awesome. Ember says Asherah was the consort of both at different times. Yeah, when Yahweh got blended into the El legend. So she was sort of the consort of El, and then the consort of Yahweh when El sort of got blended into Yahweh El. Yeah, really weird stuff happening in ancient Mesopotamia. But, you know, those were the times when in Rome or ancient Mesopotamia, as the case may be. I have divorce papers for Yahweh and Asherah. Oh, bring in receipts, stop the stupidity. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Amber. Really appreciate it. I think they agreed on a nullification. Look, if you're marrying your mother or your mother-in-law, I think it's time to you know, annul that joining. It really is. Let's see. Did Adam come up with the Latin names for animals too? Oh, presumably yes. Yes, absolutely. And in every single language. Absolutely. Yeah, good to see you, Joe. Really good. Wally Wonka says the question is, why did God want Adam and Eve to not have a moral compass? Did he want slaves that wouldn't question atrocities? Could make them too? I don't know. This is one of the questions that we kind of have, Wally Wonka. Why not have them, you know, presumably it was just to stay and tend the garden forever. You know, not having knowledge of good and evil. Maybe it was evil to trap them in a garden, as nice as it may be, and have them work it forever. I don't know. Maybe that's a sort of form of torture that they wouldn't be aware of if they didn't have knowledge of what was evil. I have no idea. Because it doesn't really say what he had intended for humans to do. Like, obviously, we've got the story. Humans ate from the fruit of knowledge of good and evil and had to be thrown out of Eden. But it never actually says what God's actual intentions for humans were if they didn't eat it. It just was like, okay, tend this garden and eat from the tree of life and you won't die. Pretty weird, but it also says that they should multiply. So I don't know what the intention was. It's a good question. It's a really good question. Christ needs a anointed one. Yeah, Joshua, who is oily. Oily Josh. Yep. John means oil, by the way. I think you find John means toilet. I think you find John means toilet. John means God is gracious. Okay. I thought it was toilet. My bad. Hey, I learned something. I learned another thing. Hey, proud on me. Awesome. No, the Gnostics. Google for the demiurge. You know what? I looked at the demiurge and I like had a lifetime's worth of demiurges. I don't. Yeah. But no, I get you. I get you. They're the Gnostics. I got you. I got you. Also, Dr. Kip's book. Yeah, Dr. Kip's the book that it was written by a man who's written no books, which is just miraculous in and of itself. That's a miracle if ever I've heard one. God's Propaganda is available in both book and audio forms wherever they are sold. Feel free to drop a link, Ems. I believe you have a wrench. Do feel free to drop any links you want. I'm all for it. I could well be wrong, but it doesn't say that the rib grew back overnight or something like that. I don't think so. Not in the Old Testament, you know, of the Bible. Maybe that's a Jewish tradition. I'm not sure. They are slightly different as far as I'm aware, but yeah. The Sethian Gnostics say God is a bungling, insecure, fake God who called the demiurge who's responsible for this whole mess. Well, you know what? I do agree with George Carlin that if God is incompetent, it certainly would answer a lot of questions. You know, like it certainly would clear up a lot of mystery as to why this is so bad of a, you know, like for design, if you could call it that. Hey, Robin, good to see you. Hey, Robin. Yeah, good to see you, Robin. It's really good to see you. Thanks for hitting me up as well. Awesome. Well, that is chapter 2. Let's see. Yep, so the consensus is God is the arsehole, and I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Don't take people's ribs without their permission, even if you think it's going to do them good, okay? Because you can even be wrong. Kipperature. Oh, I love that. I love that. Their texts are a wild ride. Okay, I'll look them up. Thanks, Alizard. Is it a lizard in Crimson, or is it Alizard in Crimson? I don't know. I feel like Alizard has more, you know, Castlevania vibes to it. I like it. I don't know why. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. This has been, and I do want to end and pass over to, I think, was it Kelly that was doing something earlier? Somebody was doing something. Look, someone's up to something, and I want to know who it is. I want to know who it is. Is it misinterpretations? Someone let me know. Let me know. And while I'm doing this, do feel free to go to the like button and the subscribe button. And even if you're feeling really cheeky, go to the share button and share it with someone who may just enjoy it as much as you presumably did because you waited till the end, or you hung in there till the end. Oh, what a bunch of people. I don't know who said they got oh yeah, it is misinterpretations. Oh, wait, at AJ's. Gotcha. Okay, we're good. We're good. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Ember. I could have just, you know, look, everything. I should just ask Ember everything. I should just use Ember like, you know, an oracle. Oh, great Ember, tell me what I'm doing. Tell me, Ember, darling, what am I doing now? That would be an ideal solution. Look, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid. I want to talk to you. That was the first outing of a brand new episode that is an evolution from my last one of Is God the Arsehole? I had a ton of fun. I'll continue to do it. Thank you so much for coming in for the premiere, everybody. It was fantastic. I had a ton of fun. You know, I think this has gone really well, and I am just amazed to be here. Just had a blast. So thank you so much, everybody. Don't forget, as always, be kind to yourself. Okay, don't let people put you asleep and then take your rib, even if they think it's in your best interests. Treat you like an adult. Get them to have boundaries about people taking your rib. Okay, it's your rib. It's not their rib, even if they originally created it. Okay, that doesn't matter. Just because you created a child, it doesn't make their ribs yours. Okay, just and do be kind to everybody else. And I hope you've had fun. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Oh, that's no good. What happened to my video? Hold on. There might be a slight delay as I get this thing organized. That's a bit weird. My outro should have gone. Hold it. Bear with me.